Hello and good afternoon, everyone. We have a special treat for you today, a doubleheader of basketball at the Capitol Center as the Crusaders get set to take on their longtime rival, the Otterbein Cardinals. Welcome into the Jimmy John's pregame show. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I am Charlie Danis. Well, Jimmy, before we get to the doubleheader today, big win for the men's team for Capitol as they defeated Muskingum on Thursday night. Kind of a quick turnaround for us, by the way. They defeated the Muskies 86-68 in this game. Capitol was trailing 39-33 in the first half, Jimmy, but they turned it on in the second half, outscoring the Muskies 53-29.
Yeah, and we talked about at halftime of that game that Jackson and Weingartner were two that really needed to step up and get their scoring. And you look at the second half box score alone, Weingartner had 12 on 5 of 8 shooting, and Jackson had 15 on 6 of 7 shooting. So both really answered the call. They combined to score 27 of Capitol's 53, and if you take into effect that Muskingum scored just 29 as well in the second half, they were almost matched by just 2 players on Capitol, and that doesn't even include Austin Schreck, who also had 12 points in the second half and finished the game with 20 points and 16 rebounds, I believe it was. Yeah, 20 and 16 with 3 assists and 2 steals. And we also kind of saw the emergence of Tyler Jamison a little bit on the offensive end of the floor. He did have only 7 points, but we saw glimpses of what he can be offensively, and he seems to be taking another step forward. And of course, the defense of the rim protecting the second half defense really started with Jamison down low, and that's something that the team can build around.
Also, a good game off the bench for Dan Abel with the injury to Kurt Geisey. Abel had to play a lot of minutes, 14 to be more specific. And Jimmy, he comes through with 7 points. They're going to need Abel, the young freshman, to continue that stellar play off the bench going forward.
Yeah, and Will Hanna also stepped in off the bench, had 10 minutes, and he was a guy that was more of a bigger part of the rotation last year than he is this year. But we saw him, especially in the late going of the second half. He had some really nice plays for Capitol as well. So they're starting to test that depth a little bit. We should also mention Jaden O'Neal's defense. He came in as more of a defender, more so than Abel. Abel was struggling to guard one of the players. I believe his last name was Marsh, or not Marsh. It was Pert off the bench for Muskingum, and Abel was having some troubles with him. They brought in Jaden O'Neal, and Pert became a non-factor. So even O'Neal only played 7 minutes, didn't get on the stat sheet really other than the playing time, but he did a nice job on the defensive end. So there are players stepping up, starting to fill the roles, and yes, Capitol will be without Geisey again here today.
We're just getting started here on the Jimmy John's pregame show. When we come back, we'll take a look around the OAC, preview some games that will be played later on this afternoon. It's all part of a special doubleheader here at the Capitol Center. Otterbein versus Capitol. The men's team taking on the Cardinals at 1 o'clock. The women's teams hooking up for a duel at 3 o'clock, tentatively scheduled at 3 o'clock. We'll have much more coming up after these words.
When looking for great food at low price, be sure to visit Peking Dynasty on the corner of Livingston and Sheridan right near the Capital University campus. Peking Dynasty has a large selection of Chinese food and sushi, along with great-tasting chicken and beef selections that can please any appetite. In addition, Capital University students receive discounts with a valid ID any day of the week. That's Peking Dynasty on the corner of Livingston and Sheridan right near the Capital campus, where we are proud to say, Go Cap!
It's the perfect sports bar because it's not just a sports bar.
I'm Gary Calico, founder and president of Rusty Bucket. A lot of families build their sports world around the bucket.
It's not just a guy's night out. You can bring your wife, you can bring your kids.
We get a lot of groups in after games.
Great place after the game.
Kids love to come here.
The Rusty Bucket Restaurant and Cabinet.
The Rusty Bucket is a proud supporter of the Capitol Crusaders. Visit us after the game at 2158 East Main Street and grab life by the bucket.
Ed, what is that bizarre contraption?
It's my latest Jimmy John's online ordering enhancement, sir.
Really?
Yes, sir. You know our popular Jimmy John's online ordering service?
Yes, click, order, eat.
This is the perfect time-saving companion.
How perfect, Ed?
Presenting the Jimmy John's F4000 three-dimensional sandwich printer.
Oh, boy.
See, we put one of these babies in the home of every Jimmy John's customer. They order the sandwich online. And we send a signal to the F4000 to make their sandwich.
Ed, how much does one of these babies cost?
With the quantity discount, $50,000, sir.
And how long does it take to print a sandwich?
About 8 hours, sir.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
So back to the drawing board?
No, stay away from the drawing board, Ed.
Welcome back into the Jimmy John's pregame show. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Danis, getting you set for today's doubleheader between Otterbein and Capitol here at the Capitol Center. It's now time to take a look around the OAC. This is brought to you by Jersey Mike's Subs and Sandwiches. The standings Men's basketball-wise, in the Ohio Athletic Conference heading to play today, look like this. Marietta and Ohio Northern are both perfect within conference play. They are both 2-0. And then a slew of teams that are 1-1 in conference play thus far. Baldwin-Wallace, Muskingum, Mount Union, Capital, Heidelberg, and John Carroll, all 1-1. Wilmington and Otterbein, they're still looking for their first wins within conference play. Both of those teams are 0-2. Again, Jimmy, not really surprising that we see Marietta at the top of the conference. Ohio Northern struggled a little bit within their non-conference part of the schedule, but it looks as though that, at least at the beginning of the year, they'll be challenging Marietta here.
Yeah, I mean, what we're going to see as the season goes on, obviously with 2 games in the conference play, everybody plays each other twice. So we've got a long way to go. It's not like soccer where you just kind of play each other once. You got to go through everybody twice, so 18 games to play from. We're going to have a lot of games and hopefully some parity. We've seen some parity across some other sports that we usually haven't seen, especially on the football side of things. And hopefully that carries into basketball season because it makes for just a more exciting standings, and we saw a little bit of that already with Muskingum getting a big win against John Carroll as probably the biggest upset so far. We saw Muskingum here on Thursday night, and we're very impressed with what we saw the first 10 to 15 minutes of that game, and then the last 25 or so, they just ran out of gas. And not sure if that was just an uncharacteristic night for them where they went cold or if it was something Capital was doing defensively, but I think Muskingum could be a real surprise, and we'll see. John Carroll, I wouldn't count them out yet. I know they're 2-4 overall, 1-1 in conference play, but like I said, there's still 16 games to go here.
Speaking of John Carroll, they'll be playing host to Marietta. That game is scheduled to tip off at 2 o'clock. A couple other games will tip off at 2 in the afternoon. Mount Union will play host to Ohio Northern. And Wilmington, they'll be on the road. They'll be taking on Heidelberg at 2 o'clock as well. And the only other game taking place involving men's basketball teams from the OAC, Muskingum playing host to Baldwin-Wallace. That game is scheduled to tip off at 4 o'clock. Let's now go to the Capital Corner, brought to you by the Rusty Bucket. And Jimmy, let's talk about the women's team, which we will see later on this afternoon. They're coming off of a tough loss in overtime at Muskingum. They fell to the Muskies 68-66. You and I were talking off air about how this was a back-and-forth affair between the Muskies and the Crusaders, and at the end, Capital just didn't have enough at the end to secure the win.
Yeah, they took the lead on a Fondesi jump shot with 2.5 minutes left to go in overtime to take a 2-point lead, and then just did not make a basket the rest of the way out. A couple free throws tied the game for Muskingum, and then Haley Stalker hit a game-winning jump shot at the end of the Reisner tried to shoot a jump shot to tie the game, but it did not go down with 1 second left, and then the game was over. So kind of frustrating that they went cold at the very wrong time with 2.5 minutes left to go in overtime. And also that second period, we talked about how the bench lineup against Ohio Northern was really the team that put them back into the game, that unit. And they just went ice cold in the second quarter. They scored just 7 points after scoring 22 in the first quarter, and the bench was really a letdown. They got really great games from some of their starters. Meredith Ovies had 18, Fondesi had 23, Reisner had 10, and that unit off the bench just didn't provide much at all. We talked about Ellie Watchman. She played 28 minutes in this game and had just 1 point. She did have 8 rebounds, but just 1 point for her. Stone Rock played 15 and didn't give much. Rachel Horn had 11 minutes, 5 points, and was really not much of a factor either. Annika Watchman at least was back, so that's a bright spot there. She came off the bench and ended up playing 26 minutes. I'm not sure if the plan for her was to be limited, and then the game went to overtime, and they just kept trying to test her as much as they could. We'll see if she's on a minutes limit tonight as well.
In all, Muskingum ends up outscoring Capital 23-13 in terms of bench points. They're going to be looking for a better effort from the bench later on this afternoon when they take on Otterbein. When we come back here on the Jimmy John's pregame show, we'll set the table for Capital and put into perspective the great performance that Austin Schreck had the other night against Muskingum. This is your home for Crusaders men's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
With 14 TVs to watch your favorite team or the next big event, Planks Cafe and Pizzeria in German Village is ready for you and your group today. Plenty of free parking, free Wi-Fi, banquet rooms for private parties, and daily specials. What more reason do you need to visit Planks Cafe and Pizzeria? Planks is located at 743 Parsons Avenue and has been serving the Columbus community since 1939. Planks is on the web at plankscafe.com or available by phone at 614-443-6251. Planks Cafe and Pizzeria is a proud supporter of Crusader Athletics. Just as fresh as its pizza, Donato's is fresh off of its 50th anniversary and still serving the Columbus area with pride. Now introducing online ordering, Donato's Pizza is ready for your order at any time from anywhere. Donato's also features a gluten-free menu and will even cater your next big event. Donato's Pizza in Bexley is located at 2800 East Main Street and is available by phone at 614-235-4477. Donato's Pizza, proud supporter of Capital Crusader Athletics.
It's the perfect sports bar because it's not just a sports bar.
I'm Gary Calico, founder and president of Rusty Bucket. A lot of families build their sports world around the bucket.
It's not just a guy's night out. You can bring your wife, you can bring your kids.
We get a lot of groups in after games.
Great place after the game.
Kids love to come here.
The Rusty Bucket Restaurant and Tavern.
The Rusty Bucket is a proud supporter of the Capital Crusaders. Visit us after the game at 2158 East Main Street and grab life by the bucket.
Welcome back to the Jimmy John's pregame show. It's now time to set the table for Capital, brought to you by Pepsi. Live for now. Jimmy, I want to focus on Austin Schreck for just a moment. In 6 of the first 8 games for Schreck, he has scored in double figures, coming off of a sensational performance against Muskingum. 20 points, 16 rebounds. He's a guard, doesn't shoot the 3 ball all that much, but he's shooting 50% from the field this season. Why has he been so successful for Capital thus far?
I mean, the game against Muskingum, the real success he had was being just guarded by someone who was very undersized, and he was taking him straight to the rack, and that was the game plan pretty much for everyone on Capital, was to get the ball into the painted area and get underneath the basket and get some easy buckets. Muskingum was like a turnstile on the very early going of that game, and Schreck in the second half was just taking his man to the basket and showing off some post moves with his back to the basket, and it was that simple for him. He's a very oversized point guard, which he can play to his advantage, and he's still athletic enough defensively to when he is guarding someone who is a little bit more elusive than him, he's still able to keep him in front of him, and that's something that Schreck does very well, and let's see if he continues to do that today. He's kind of just got like a unique body build, and he's using it to his advantage right now.
Speaking of guards, we referenced him earlier. Dan Auble coming off the bench, playing 14 minutes for Capital, 7 points off the bench, also had a couple of assists. Jimmy, he looked pretty good out there on the floor, and with the injury to Kurt Geisey, he's going to need to play a much better role. I liked how the bench was able to step up in that win over Muskingum. Yeah,
Auble's got a nice little shooting stroke here. I'm watching him actually shoot right now as you were talking about him. He's been taking a couple of threes here, so he's kind of like Geisey. He's got to have the same kind of fill-in. He's just going to be a guy that plays hard defense and is kind of the floor general, and if he gets an open shot, he'll take it. But he's not going to be someone that creates his own shot or anything like that. He's just kind of a nice niche player for them. So I think Auble will fit in just fine. I think limiting him to the 14 minutes was a smart move by Coach Gilwin. I don't think you want to throw him out there for 25 minutes a night. But he's someone that can give you some depth off the bench. Luckily for Capital, they have a lot of players that can handle the ball. Jackson can even play some point guard if they need him to. Weingartner can play some point guard as well. And Will Hanna even can play some point guard off the bench. Wildermuth, I think, even you could get away with. So they have a lot of ball handlers on this team. I think Auble is a guy, though, that they would love to step up and fill that role of Geisey, and I'm sure Kurt is kind of taking him under his wing as well in practice, knowing the kind of guy that Kurt is.
And finally, Jimmy, you know, it's nice to know, with us being this far into the season, that Capital seems to have settled upon a dependable starting 5. Nate Boone at forward, Tyler Jamison at center, and then at the guard spots, Schreck, Weingartner, and Jackson. To me, I think that gives Capital a lot of firepower offensively, also a good presence inside, particularly with the way that Jamison has been playing down there on the low block. Do you agree?
I mean, there's a lot of psychology that goes on with sports. You're looking at a baseball player, Ethan, and getting a set batting order. You go to the gym, you know what's going to happen. It's the same kind of thing here. So you know that you're going to be, let's say you're a bench guy like Yahaya coming off the bench. He knows his role. He's that energy guy that's going to come off the bench. He's not going to come into the stadium one day and be like, am I starting today? Am I not starting today? You know, everyone is like that. Everyone knows what their role is with this team, and it's really awesome that they have that established at this point of the season. I don't see them making any kind of changes because I don't really think it's necessary at this point, barring an injury. I think they're going to be just fine. I would like to see Nate Boone get out of foul trouble for a change. He's been in foul trouble pretty much every game that we've broadcasted here, and we saw the one game earlier this year where he wasn't in foul trouble and he went off. he has very good footwork down low, and he is a very good player for this team. He just continues to get into foul trouble, unfortunately. So hopefully he can avoid that today, and we can see Nate Boone put on a real show as well. But I like the fire they've got. I like the fact that G comes off the bench, and they've got some nice guys that can kind of chip in off the bench as well. I hate that they don't have Geisy, though. That really hurts. He's that other kind of energy guy that complements Yahaya coming off the bench. But they're just going to have the next man up. That's Dan Auble right now.
When we come back, we'll take a look at Capital's opponent, the Otterbein Cardinals. Always the big rival. They come here to battle the Crusaders at the Capitol Center this afternoon. You are listening to the Jimmy John's pregame show.
I wanted to fly. They said I couldn't. So I built a plane, then a spaceship, then I went to the moon. I invented jazz, hip-hop, rock and roll. Some called it noise. I said it was music. I wrote a letter and sent it by ponies. It didn't get to you fast enough, so I used trucks and ships. But still, they weren't fast enough for me. So I lost the paper and the ink. I sent it by magic. I called it email. I made up new words: jukebox, bling, Google. And I decided some old words weren't okay to say ever again. The mustache. I tried to bring that back 17 times. I wore knickerbockers and shoulder pads, poodle skirts and flannel. When I came back from World War II, all I had was a t-shirt. So I made that cool. In fact, I invented cool. Who am I? I'm the spirit of youth. It's my job to move the world forward. Pepsi. Every generation refreshes the world.
Welcome back to the Jimmy John's pregame show. Let's now go ahead and set the table for Otterbein. This is brought to you by Capital Dining Services. Well, Jimmy, we have just been given the starting lineups for both teams, and a notable absence for the starting lineup for Otterbein today. Jake Phillips, the senior out of Zanesville. He'll be coming off the bench. Enter freshman point guard Andrew Valeri, who hails from Mentor, Ohio.
Yeah, it looks like Phillips has been coming off the bench quite a bit, too. He has just started 2 games this season. He also missed a game, so kind of speculating, but maybe there was some kind of injury earlier in the season and they're easing him back into a role. He is averaging 22 minutes a game, whereas Valeri is only averaging 16.5 per game, and this is just Valeri's second start as well. So maybe they're just trying to spice things up or whatever it is, but keep an eye out for Phillips. Whether he's coming off the bench or not, he's going to be a very good player in this one.
Brian McKenzie is your leading scorer for Otterbein this season, averaging 15.7 points per game, also about 5.5 rebounds per game. Jimmy, I was talking with Elijah Gonzalez, the play-by-play announcer for Otterbein, and he was telling me that McKenzie is one of those players that had to work himself off the bench. He was at the end of the bench for his freshman year, but slowly but surely he has really turned himself into a standout player for Otterbein.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only guy that really kind of jumps off the stat sheet at you with the 15 points and the 6.4 rebounds. He also has a little bit of an outside shot. He's 7 for 21 from outside, tied for the team lead in made three-pointers with Corey Howard, who's 7 for 20. So he's right there in that conversation with some of the better three-point shooters on this roster as well. So he's kind of got a complete game, and that's going to test Jamison. We saw Keys from Muskingum taking a few three-pointers, even though he hadn't taken any all year, to try to suck Jamison away from the basket. So I'm sure that's going to be part of the game plan for Otterbein. It'll be interesting to see how Capital chooses to defend that.
And finally, Jimmy, Otterbein obviously is the big game for Capital, but you and I were talking before the game. It's going to be a weird atmosphere here at the Capitol Center. Students have just gone on Christmas break, so you're not going to have a really big student section for this game. And obviously with the holiday season rolling around, I'm sure a lot of people are busy here on this Saturday afternoon, maybe not making the game today. How does that factor into the fact that every time these two teams play, it seems like anything goes despite what the records hold for both teams?
I think that both teams are still going to be, motivated enough. You don't need the fan base behind you. It is weird because the 2 games that we've done here before for Otterbein, it was a packed house, literally. The student section was back up to the wall by the banners up there and filled in completely. But obviously that's not going to be the case tonight. And it might actually kind of help Capital because we've seen them kind of try to feed off of the crowd a little bit too much in the past. They try to take big threes from, pull-up jump shots and just not playing very smart basketball in order to get the crowd to get a little bit more into it. So I think they'll be fine. And it is still a busier day here at the Cap Center than usual. There's still going to be quite a bit of crowd noise, I think. and there's still people kind of filling in from both Otterbein's side and from Capital's side. So I don't think it's going to be too big of a factor. And it actually might play in our advantage a little bit. It'll play a little bit smarter.
Well, either way, you know that Capital and Otterbein, when they get together on the hard court, it is hard fought, it is entertaining, and whether one team is doing good or bad, it's just one of those games where you throw the records out, you just roll the ball out there and see what will be going on in the not-too-distant future. When we come back, we'll have the keys to the game. What does Capital need to do in order to get another win over their rival, Otterbein? We'll have that answer and much more as we continue to roll along here on the Jimmy John's pregame show.
OSU Sports Medicine is a proud supporter of Crusader student-athletes by providing sports health services for Capital University athletics and student health services. Through the work and care of team physicians and athletic trainers, it's the team behind your team. For all fans, if you're looking to improve your physical performance, recover from an injury, or stay active for a lifetime, the experts at Ohio State Sports Medicine are there for you. Visit sportsmedicine.osu.edu or call 366-4332. Army ROTC is one of the best leadership courses in the country and can be a part of your college curriculum. As a potential or current student at Capital University, learning to become a leader will make your college experience even richer and prepare you for the future. Capital Army ROTC can provide scholarships and many more benefits to those who enroll, but the biggest benefit will be experienced firsthand after joining. For more information on Capital Army ROTC, testimonials, and an in-depth look at what the program can offer you, go to www.capital.edu/ROTC.
This is a message for all those MBA seekers out there. For the junior exec who'd rather be senior. For the VP yearning to be CEO. And for everyone who'd call their job not just a profession, but a passion. Capital University's MBA program was built exclusively for professionals, experienced faculty, flexible schedules, and classmates you'll soon consider colleagues. Learn more at capital.edu/MBA. The Capital University MBA, for those driven to do more.
Back here on the Jimmy John's pregame show, let's now get you the keys to the game, brought to you by the Marriott Columbus Airport. All right, Jimmy, what does Capital need to do to get a win over that school from Westerville?
Well, the first thing that kind of jumps out at me is looking at the points per game. Capital averaging 75 a game and allowing 67, and Otterbein's averaging 59 a game and 65. So this is kind of the reverse of what we're used to seeing. Capital is usually the team that has to kind of play slower pace to their own style so that they can kind of grind out an uglier win. That's not the case today. We got to run today. Otterbein does not have the offensive firepower that this Capital team has, and Otterbein is going to be the team that tries to slow this thing down and turn it into more of an ugly slugfest. Capital needs to run and shoot often and play a little bit out of their own style, but at the same time kind of stay within themselves. Don't try to come out here and turn this into too much of a track meet where you're trying to drop 100 on them. But if you get to your average 75, I don't think Otterbein's going to have enough firepower to get up that high. I think the most points they've scored this season was 72 in their win, and that's correct, 72 points in their win against Ohio Wesleyan. So, and we saw them here a little bit at the end of that game, Charlie, and Otterbein looked pretty impressive defensively, but I didn't see anything offensively that was super impressive. So I think that style of play is going to be interesting because Capital's not used to being the team that's the fast team in the dynamic, but they have to be here tonight. The perimeter is going to be a big one too. Otterbein is only shooting 25% from three-point range, and that is not going to happen all year round. I mean, they might not be a very talented three-point shooting team, but you're going to have your nights where you come out and shoot 40-45% from threes. It's just, law of averages kind of thing. So Otterbein has gotten a lot of misses out of the way, and tonight could be one of the, or this afternoon, I guess, could be one of those days where they open it up and start draining some threes. So Capital has to make sure that night isn't coming tonight, and maybe just against another OAC opponent, they can have a lights-out day from outside. Capital is only allowing their opponents to shoot 31% from outside while they shoot 34% from outside. So that's also pretty good, and Otterbein defends the perimeter very well, 27% there. I think both those numbers for Otterbein are going to be seen in a little bit of an uptick, and we could see a big three-point shootout here in this one if the law of averages kind of levels out in this one. And then last would be rebounds. Capital's a very good rebounding team, 39.9. That's very much in large part because of Schreck's ability to rebound as a point guard. with Boone and Jamison down low, and even Tyrell Jackson's up there in rebounds as well. So very good at all 5 positions, rebound the basketball incredibly well. And Otterbein averages just 32 rebounds a game. They're -5 for the season. Capitals +7 on the year. So rebounding, 3-point shooting, and pace of play are big keys for this one.
The Tan and Cardinal taking on the Purple and White, one of the best rivalries that the OAC has to offer. Otterbein taking on Capital here at the Capitol Center. Game 1 of our doubleheader. The men's team taking on Otterbein. They will be tipping off shortly, sometime around 1 o'clock. The women's team, meanwhile, doing battle with the Cardinals, tentatively scheduled for 3 o'clock later on this afternoon. You have been listening to the Jimmy John's pregame show. When we come back, we will have the starting lineups and the opening tip-off from the Capitol Center. This is your home for Crusaders men's basketball, the Capitol Sports Network.
This is a message for the nurses among us, for those who dream of saving lives, for those who are driven to improve care, and for those ready to help heal what's broken, be it a single bone fracture or an entire hospital system. Capital University's advanced nursing programs are built for you. Engaged faculty, immersive learning, and intimate classes where you'll know everyone's name. To learn more, visit capital.edu/nursing. Advanced nursing at Capital University, for those driven to do more.
Dill's Greenhouse is a local family business dedicated to offering the best shopping experience and honest prices for your gardening needs. If you're in need of annuals, perennials, vegetable plants, or any variety of gardening tools and resources, Dill's Greenhouse is more than happy to get you on the right path. Dill's Greenhouse is located at 5800 Rager Road in Groveport, Ohio, and is open 7 days a week. Visit them online for more information at dillsgreenhouse.net. Dill's Greenhouse. Only nature does it better. With 14 TVs to watch your favorite team or the next big event, Planks Cafe and Pizzeria in German Village is ready for you and your group today. Plenty of free parking, free Wi-Fi, banquet rooms for private parties, and daily specials. What more reason do you need to visit Planks Cafe and Pizzeria? Planks is located at 743 Parsons Avenue and has been serving the Columbus community since 1939. Planks is on the web at plankscafe.com or available by phone at 614-443-6251. Planks Cafe and Pizzeria is a proud supporter of Crusader Athletics. Just as fresh as its pizza, Donato's is fresh off of its 50th anniversary and still serving the Columbus area with pride. Now introducing online ordering, Donato's Pizza is ready for your order at any time from anywhere. Donato's also features a gluten-free menu and will even cater your next big event. Donato's Pizza in Bexley is located at 2800 East Main Street and is available by phone at 614-235-4477. Donato's Pizza, proud supporter of Capital Crusader Athletics.
Welcome back here to the Capitol Center, getting set for men's basketball here in Bexley as Capital gets set to take on Otterbein. Let's now send it down to the public address announcer, Neil Shapiro, for more.
Doubleheader basketball game featuring the visiting Cardinals of Otterbein University and your Capital University Crusaders. Don't forget to get your game program. It's all available free of charge just inside the door here at the Cap Center. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a great country with freedoms like no other in order to honor America and in respect for all who have served our country to defend our freedoms. You're invited to rise and join us in the singing of our national anthem.
Let's now get you the starting lineups brought to you by Dill's Greenhouse. Only nature does it better. First, for the school from Westboro, Ohio, that being the Cardinals of Otterbein University. Starting lineup looks like this for Otterbein. At guard will be the 5'5" freshman from Mentor, Ohio, number 4, Andrew Valeri. At forward will be the 6'2" senior from Westlake, Ohio, number 5, Brian McKenzie. Also at forward will be the 6'5" junior from Columbus, Ohio, number 20, Matt Hughes. Also at guard will be the 5'11" freshman from Worcester, Ohio, number 21, Nick Kluntz. And finally, at guard, the 6'3" redshirt freshman from Fairfield, Ohio, number 33, Cameron Armenio. The head coach of Otterbein is Brian Euler. He is in his second season as head coach for the Cardinals. Meanwhile, the starting line for Capital will look like this. At guard will be the 6'3" sophomore from Erlanger, Kentucky, number 3, Austin Schreck. Also at guard will be the 6' sophomore from Centerville, Ohio, number 22, Joey Weingartner. Also at guard will be the 6'2" senior from Dublin, Ohio, number 23, Tyrell Jackson. At forward will be the 6'7" freshman from Columbus, Ohio, Nate Boone. And rounding out the starting 5 for Capital will be the 6'6" freshman from Chillicothe, Ohio, Tyler Jamison. In his 22nd year as head coach of Capital, that would be Damon Goodwin. Well, Jimmy, not much of a student section. We were talking on the pregame show about how the last couple times we've done these games, it's an absolutely electric atmosphere, but with a lot of people on break, kind of a more subdued atmosphere here at Capital, but still doesn't take away from the fact that usually when these two teams get together with one another on the hard court, you can throw the records out, and odds are you're probably in for a pretty entertaining ball game.
Yeah, I think we've still got a little bit extra here in the gym tonight. I know that there might not be as many students as we anticipated, but it looks like even some students from Otterbein, or maybe they're just, college-age kids that are family friends or family, sisters or players out there. But there's still a little bit of that atmosphere in the air, and I think it's going to be a fun one, especially if this is a close game down the stretch. It's going to be that kind of extra little bit of atmosphere in the building, and I think today's going to be a fun day, Charlie. We've been looking forward to this doubleheader here for a few weeks now.
Our opening tip-off is brought to you by Zoe's Cafe. Otterbein in their tan and cardinal uniforms. Capital in their customary white uniforms with purple numbers, white lettering. Jumping for Otterbein will be Matt Hughes. He'll be going up against Tyler Jamison for Capital. Looks like both teams are ready to go. The whistle has been blown. The ball will now be brought to midcourt. Mo Kincaid, Frank Vitt, and Brad Kelly are our officials this afternoon. Jamison wins the toss for Capital, and we are underway here at the Capital Center. Austin Schreck had a scintillating 20.16 rebound performance against Muskingum. Passes it inside, but it's tipped, and an early steal for Otterbein as Brian McKenzie comes up with the loose ball. It's now Valeri, the 5'5" freshman out of Mentor, Ohio, running the point for the Cardinals. He'll pass it off to McKenzie. McKenzie being face guarded by Boone. 12 on the shot clock. Ball poked away, but it's recovered by Armenio. Now it's in the hands of Valeri. He's got 5 on the shot clock. He'll drive, kick it out. Now it's a drive and a jump shot by Hughes, and Hughes will knock it down for Otterbein. 2-0 Cardinals.
And you see very early on Charlie Jamison being brought away from the basket as they try to take jump shots over him and not go right at him.
So a 2-0 lead for Otterbein. Not even a minute in to the game this afternoon between Otterbein and the Cardinals, the Crusaders, excuse me. Boone to Schreck. Schreck, jumper, no good, and the rebound is taken by Matt Hughes.
Otterbein doing full court pressure and then dropping into a 2-3 zone. Capital trying to attack the high post, which is that weak spot. Just didn't go down for Schreck there.
McKenzie swings it over to Armenio. Now it's over to Coons. Driving in is McKenzie now. McKenzie losing the ball, and Jamison comes up with it for Capital. Here comes Schreck. Now it's to Jackson on the left wing. Tyrell will let it fly and knock it down.
That's the spot on the floor on the other side of the court where he got going in that second half against Muskingum. Had just 2 points in the first half and really turned it on. Finished with, I believe, 15.
2-2 between Otterbein and Capital. 18-15 remaining in the first half. McKenzie out near midcourt, guarded by Boone. Now swings it over to Coons. Coons with 11 on the shot clock. Trying to drive towards the basket. Fadeaway jumper off the glass and in. Impressive shot for Coons, who's no more as a defensive player, at least at this point in time of his Otterbein career. Gives Otterbein a 4-2 lead. Jumper for Weingartner. That's no good. And the rebound is taken by Otterbein's Coons.
And that's the shot that Otterbein is going to have to live and die with. They're going to just let Capital take that shot as much as they want. And if it goes down, it could be their downfall, but they've missed it twice already.
Valeri inside. Jumper on the way. Good for Arminio, the redshirt freshman out of Fairfield. It's a 6-2 lead for Otterbein. 17.5 to play in the first half. Schreck will cross midcourt. Now it's to Weingartner on the right wing. Joey will pass it off to Tyler. Now over to Tyrell. Tyrell, top of the arc with 13 on the shot clock. Jackson waving, trying to get players to help him out. Now swings it over to Weingartner in the corner. They go to Jamison. Back out to Joey for 3. That's woefully short, but Joey's able to chase it down for Capital and gets it back to Schreck. A fresh shot clock for Capital. Schreck, top of the arc. Looking for a teammate, goes over to Tyrell. Tyrell, boy, thought about a 3 and might have had one right there, but passes off to Schreck instead. 15 on the shot clock. Now it's Joey, and Joey knocks it down from long range.
And it's good to see Weingartner and Jackson getting going early in this game.
Otterbein 6, Capital 5, 16:38 remaining in the first half. Valeri, the freshman point guard, passes it off. Now it's over to Coons. Driving in is Hughes, gets it over to Coons in the corner now. And a foul is going to be called against Nate Boone. First foul of the afternoon will go against Capital as Boone was trying to defend against McKenzie. And now coming in for Capital will be Dan Auble, who put in yeoman's work off of the bench for Capital in the win over Muskingum. Had 7 points off the bench, taking the place of Schreck out there on the court for Capital. Valeri, meanwhile, will inbound it for the baseline. Now it's in the hands of McKenzie. McKenzie swings it over to Valeri. Now they go inside. Hughes looking to back down his man. Got Jamison up in the air and then got fouled by Boone on his way to the bucket. A couple of nice pump fakes by Matt Hughes, the junior out of Columbus, went to Bishop Watterson High School here in Central Ohio.
That's 2 on Boone already, Charlie. We talked about in the pregame. Again, he's had real problems staying out of foul trouble this year, and here we are again, not even 4 minutes in, 2 fouls. He's going to have to head to the bench.
Meanwhile, Hughes, leading scorer for Otterbein at the free throw line, misses his first free throw attempt. Checking in for Capital will be G. Yahaya, as Boone will make his way to the Capital bench. 6-5 in favor of Otterbein. 16-16 remaining in the first half. Matt Hughes, one more free throw. This one rattles home. A 2-point lead for Otterbein, 7-5 with 16-16 remaining in the first half. Auble will now get it into Jackson. Tyrell looking for a little bit of a clear out as Otterbein goes with a halfway decent look of a press defense. Floater in the lane, and it's good for Joey Weingartner. Tied at 7. It'll be Andrew Valeri now bringing the ball up for Otterbein as he crosses the timeline, being guarded by Dan Auble. A couple of short players right there, Valeri and Auble, around 5'5", 5'6". Valeri on the left wing. He'll get it inside to Hughes. Hughes back outside to Arminio. Arminio dribbling around, jumper from the foul line. That's no good, and the rebound is taken by Yahaya for Capital. Now it's Auble. Slows his roll a little bit after rapidly accelerating over the midcourt line. Auble, top of the arc to Weingartner. Over to Auble. Now to Jackson on the left wing. Bounces it over to G. Now back out to Tyrell. 4-3. No good for Jackson, and the rebound taken by Otterbein's Arminio.
You can just see Auble dribbling the ball around. He's got a lot more confidence to his game than he did just 3 weeks ago. It's nice to see that little bit of progression there, being the floor general right now.
Actually, by the way, Auble 6 foot. Not quite as short as I thought he would be, at least compared to Valeri. 15 minutes have gone by, and Otterbein has retaken the lead as Arminio gets the bucket to go. And now a turnover for Capital. Kind of a sloppy couple of minutes here for Capital as the Cardinals get back the ball. 5 minutes, by the way, into the game. Otterbein leading Capital 9-7 here at the Capital Center. Valeri being guarded by Auble. Valeri will dart his way in, and yep, that'll be a traveling violation as looks like his right foot slipped on the hard court.
They've got to get some better shoes. That's what led to that travel there. His foot slid as he landed.
It's all about traction. So now Auble will inbound it from the baseline. So far, Otterbein doing a nice job shooting the ball, Jimmy. 80% from the field, 4 or 5 from the field. Capital doing a decent job, 42.9%, 3 of 7 from the field.
Yeah, that first possession was very ugly from Otterbein, but ever since then they've been getting quick shots, using quick passes, and finding ball down low, really, is where they're attacking.
Driving, now to Jackson on the left wing. 9 on the shot clock for Tyrell. He'll dribble over and bounce it over to Joey. Now to Abel inside the G. G, mid-range jumper, no good. Battle for it, and a foul's going to be called against Tyrell. Looks like a reach-in over the back type of foul.
The problem is they've been getting a lot of good looks as Capital. They just haven't been knocking them down at all. Shrek comes back on for Jackson now.
And coming in for Otterbein, looks like it's Austin Springer, freshman out of Mount Vernon.
He was shooting in the pregame too, Charlie. He's got a very nice jump shot from outside. Only 26% on the year, but keep an eye out for him on the perimeter.
Otterbein 9, Capital 7, 13:55 remaining in our first half of play. Arminio on the right wing, over to McKenzie. Back to Arminio with 12 on the shot clock. Recently inserted Corey Howard also coming in for Otterbein as well. Howard dribbling in, gets the bucket to go. Boy, trying to use a European cross step right there. It looked like he took a lot of steps on his way to the bucket, but no call. Abel on the right wing. Over to Shrek. Back to Abel. 20 on the shot clock for good old Dan. Dan at the top of the arc. Over to Shrek. Abel to Weingartner. Joey will let it fly. Hits it. Bullseye for Joey.
Tough shot, too. Arminio coming down on him, the 6'3 guard who looks a little bit more than that. A nice high arcing jump shot there from Weingartner, his second three of the afternoon.
Otterbein 11, Capital 10. A dribble inside Springer. Now he has to get it back out to Hughes, and now a foul called against Capital. Looks like a reach-in foul against Joey Weingartner.
It's their fourth already, Charlie.
And still no fouls called on Otterbein, by the way. So Weingartner will now check out. Gavin Wildermuth will check in for Capital. Also coming in, let's see here, Michael Howard, no relation to Corey. He'll check in for Otterbein. Corey Howard gets it in to Arminio. Arminio dribbling around. Back outside to Springer. Springer, he's dribbling on in. Leaner is good for Springer. Boy, didn't have a lot of room to work with, but Springer somehow found a way to get that ball to go off the glass and in.
That's one of Shrek's moves, too, that little fake and get underneath the defender. He used it against Shrek there.
Abel, long jumper. Dan not able to hit. G with the rebound for Capital. Yahaya still looking around, and now finally gets it back out to Shrek as Capital will reset in the half court. Capital trailing Otterbein 13-10, 112.5 to play in our first half. Wildermuth on the right wing to G, back out to Abel, now into G. G driving his way in, doesn't get the shooter's roll, gets his own rebound, however. Back out to Abel, now to Shrek. Shrek thought about a jumper, now back out to Abel. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Shrek will let loose a three and doesn't knock it down, but Jamison is right there to clean up the mess.
There's the rebounding we talked about, Charlie. Otterbein really struggling on the boards this year. Capital more of the beasts on the boards, and Yahaya following up a couple of his own misses there, and then finally Jamison gets the tip in. And a long possession, but they come away with points.
Otterbein 13, Capital 12, 11:43 remaining in the first half. And a reach-in foul will be called against Wildermuth as he was trying to strip the ball away against Corey Howard. So now the fifth foul on Capital. Coming back in. Actually coming in for the first time, I should say, for Otterbein. Nick Nossman, junior out of Powell. Inbounding it will be Corey Howard, and Howard will get it into Hughes. Hughes over to Michael Howard. Now a steal. Abel with the ball. Abel will drive on in and score. Nice job running the floor by Dan Abel.
Look who was there filling the lane, as always, is Yahaya. He wanted to pass, but Abel just goes right to the rack himself. Left-handed layup. Nice finish, and Capital has, I believe, their first lead.
14-13. 11:15 remaining in the first half. Capital with a 1-point lead at the moment. Springer trying to drive on in. Almost got tripped up right there, but still maintains his balance as they get it back out to Corey Howard. 5 on the shot clock for Howard. Howard gets stripped by G, and G got fouled by Howard. Nice defensive work by G that time.
It's almost a clear path foul, too. You got the whole half court in front of him.
First foul of the game on Otterbein. Now coming in for Capital. It'll be Caleb Mitchell. Mitchell checking in for Jamison. He's had a quiet game offensively so far. By the way, Joey Weingartner, 3 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 from three-point range, good for 8 points for Capital. Good to see Joey getting off to a hot start in this game against Otterbein. Got off to a slow start against Muskingum, but finished strong against the Muskies. As the jumper is good for Caleb Mitchell. 16-13, Capital with a 3-point lead over Otterbein. 10:41 remain in the first half.
Important to note, too, Charlie, on that clear path that I just brought up, that's only a foul that's called at the NBA level. So even though Yahya could have had an easy layup there, that's not a rule that is in the NCAA level.
Nossman being guarded by Schreck. Trying to shake Schreck, but Schreck doing a nice defensive job. A roll in, and the bucket will not go for Michael Howard. Rebound, Capital. Abel on the left wing, over to Schreck. Back over to Abel. Now it's G to Wildermuth. Inside, Mitchell, jumper, rattles home for Caleb Mitchell, and a timeout is going to be taken by Otterbein. Let's step aside as well. 10:06 remaining in the first half. Capital 18, Otterbein 13. This is your home for Crusaders men's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
When looking for great food at low price, be sure to visit Peking Dynasty on the corner of Livingston and Sheridan, right near the Capital University campus. Peking Dynasty has a large selection of Chinese food and sushi, along with great-tasting chicken and beef selections that can please any appetite. In addition, Capital University students receive discounts with a valid ID any day of the week. That's Peking Dynasty on the corner of Livingston and Sheridan, right near the Capital campus, where we are proud to say, Go Cap!
I wanted to fly. They said I couldn't. So I built a plane, then a spaceship, then I went to the moon. I invented jazz, hip-hop, rock and roll. Some called it noise. I said it was music. I wrote a letter and sent it by ponies. It didn't get to you fast enough, so I used trucks and ships. But still, they weren't fast enough for me. So I lost the paper and the ink. I sent it by magic. I called it email. I made up new words: jukebox, bling, Google. And I decided some old words weren't okay to say ever again. The mustache. I tried to bring that back 17 times.
Welcome back to the Capital Center. 10:06 remaining in the first half. It is Capital leading Otterbein 18-13 here in the first half. Jimmy, what's caught your eye so far?
I mean, not a whole lot. Capital has done a nice job here the last few possessions of starting to kind of figure out this zone look that Otterbein's throwing at them, but we haven't seen a whole lot of, surprises from what we've been expecting.
Otterbein back with the basketball. Good defense by G on Michael Howard. Howard somehow is able to get the pass off, and now a loose ball along the baseline. It will go off of a Capital player. Looks like it went off of G. 6 seconds remain on the shot clock. A couple substitutions now for Otterbein as Valeri and McKenzie come into the ball game for Otterbein. And I think we have yet to see Jake Phillips in this game, Jimmy, which is kind of surprising. Out of bounds, still Otterbein ball after the tip by Yahya.
Not sure how a second didn't run off the shot clock there, but got to be very aggressive here defensively. Don't allow an easy look off of the inbound pass. You have 6 seconds to just play really tight defense, and hopefully they jack up a tough shot.
Nossman inbounds it to Valeri. 2 seconds on the shot clock for Valeri. Lets up a floater. That's no good. Loose ball. And it is off of G. It will go to Otterbein. And it looks like G was kind of voicing his displeasure towards the Capital bench and not the referee, which is smart for that young man. Valeri will get it in to Michael Howard. Now it's Valeri on the right wing being guarded by Dan Abel, who's played a lot of minutes so far for Capital here in this first half. Valeri still being guarded by Abel. 16 on the shot clock. Valeri still dribbling around before finally giving off to Springer. Springer, jumper from the foul line. That's no good. And the rebound taken by Capital, and then a foul called against Otterbein. Looks like a push-off against, let's say McKenzie, I think.
That's right.
Second foul on Otterbein. And now, let's see here, a couple substitutions for Capital. Weingartner will come back in, and making his first appearance this afternoon is Jaden O'Neal, the freshman out of Lima.
Jackson also checked back in there too.
Jaden O'Neal will bring the ball across the court. He's really endeared himself to the Capital fan base for his scrappiness coming off the bench. Had some really nice defensive work against Muskingum the other night. O'Neal getting the ball on the baseline. Somehow it got tipped to G. Ahaya off the hands of Tyrell Jackson, and G finished it.
Just how they drew it up there.
Exactly. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be good. And right now, Capital sitting pretty, leading Otterbein 20-13, 8:38 remaining in the first half. Springer dribbling around, now gives off to Michael Howard. Now it's back to Springer. Springer, spin move, back out, deep three, and Nossman knocks it down.
That ends a 10-0 run that Capital was on. It had been over 4.5 minutes without a bucket from the Cardinals.
20-16 in favor of Capital. 8:15 remaining in the first half. O'Neal to Weingartner. Back to O'Neal. O'Neal dribbling around near the right wing. Over to Tyrell Jackson with 10 on the shot clock. O'Neal now with the ball. Back on the right wing. Jackson, top of the arc, trying to get a screen from G, and G, that's a moving screen right there, as he was trying to get a good screen on Nossman.
One more means free throws for Otterbein.
Already the sixth foul on Capital here in the first half. So now Otterbein will get the ball back. Inbounding it will be McKenzie, and he'll get it into his freshman point guard, Valeri. Valeri from Mentor, Ohio, up near the Cleveland area. Getting the start here today. Like we said, we have yet to see Jake Phillips. He's been Otterbein's standout guard the last couple of years. I wonder if he's injured. They go inside, and McKenzie somehow, someway, is able to get it over the leaping hands of Giahaya.
I mean, he looks okay. He's on the bench. He has his warm-ups on, but I can see the number 3 on the bench through the warm-ups. So unless there's something going on that we don't know about, he is healthy and ready to go.
O'Neal bounces it over to Weingartner. Weingartner, jumper from the left elbow. That's no good. But the ball is loose, and G is able to recover it after it looked like McKenzie might have gotten a rebound for Otterbein.
That's 5 offensive boards now. They have more offensive rebounds than defensive ones.
G on the middle. Jumper, 15-footer, is good for Tyrell Jackson. 22-18, Capital with the lead over Otterbein. 7:02 remained in the first half. Looks like Tyrell's jump shot has made it this afternoon.
They've really been testing the mid-range game today, and the second chance points is killing Otterbein right now. If they're able to secure some of these boards, they probably have a 6-point lead right now.
McKenzie trying to dribble in against G, but instead passes it off to Hausman. Hausman with 9 on the shot clock, being guarded by Weingartner. Hausman dribbling to his left, lets loose a 3. That's no good. McKenzie, offensive board. McKenzie drives in and scores.
And they get some second chance love finally.
22-20. Capital with a 2-point lead over Otterbein. 6.5 to play in the first half. It's been a good game so far here at the Capitol Center. Back and forth affair between the Cardinals and the Crusaders. O'Neal to Weingartner on the right wing. Joey dribbling to his left. Still trying to figure out what to do with the basketball. Finally passes it away. Swung on over to O'Neal. Back to Weingartner. Now back to O'Neal. O'Neal over to Mitchell. Mitchell hits the mid-range jumper. Speaking of mid-range jumpers, he's brought his today.
Yeah, that's something that Jamison doesn't really bring to the table as much as Mitchell. I would say he's the more offensive player of the two, whereas Jamison is a much better defensive player of the two. And that's not a slight on Mitchell. It just kind of shows you how good of a defensive player that Jamison is. And Mitchell might get some extra minutes with Boone in foul trouble.
Long three-pointer. That is knocked down by Nossman. And now a timeout will be taken by Capital. As we go to break, 5:47 remaining in the first half. Capital 24, Otterbein 23. This is your home for Crusaders men's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
It's the perfect sports bar because it's not just a sports bar.
I'm Gary Calico, founder and president of Rusty Bucket. A lot of families build their sports world around the bucket.
It's not just a guy's night out. You can bring your wife, you can bring your kids.
We get a lot of groups in after games.
Great place after the game.
Kids love to come here.
The Rusty Bucket Restaurant and Tavern.
The Rusty Bucket is a proud supporter of the Capital Crusaders. Visit us after the game at 2158 East Main Street and grab life by the bucket.
5:47 remaining in the first half. Capital clinging to a 24-23 lead over Otterbein. A good game so far between these longtime rivals from the Ohio Athletic Conference. Jackson now with Dan Auble. Also checking in for the first time today for Capital, Will Hanna. And back on the floor for Capital is Austin Schreck along with Tyler Jamison. So a lot of substitutions end up being made by Capital. Three-pointer for Dan. Dan knocks it down from long range. 27-23, Capital with the lead.
Interesting that Auble's playing like a 2 guard right now. Usually the backup for Shrek, but he's earned himself some playing time as a 2, which we've seen from Geisy as well.
Hannah guarding McKenzie. Now they swing it on over to Hughes. Hughes near the left block. Hughes dribbling around. Almost has his pocket pick outside to Valeri for 3, and it's good. 1 point lead for Capital, 27-26. 4:55 remaining in the first half.
And Otterbein's 3 for 4 from outside. We talked about in the pregame, they're not going to shoot 25% all year round. Here we go.
Abel to Jackson. Jackson back to Abel. Dan pointing out signals for Capital. 10 on the shot clock. Jackson on the left wing, trying to dribble on in, passing it over to Abel. Abel to Shrek. 3 on the shot clock. They got to get a bucket here, and Hannah is able to lay it off the glass and in off of the tremendous feed by Jamison.
Yeah, they found a bucket, a very easy one at that, too. All they needed to do was just come right down the lane.
Capital 29, Otterbein 26, 4:18 left to play in our first half. Cardinals back with the basketball. Nossman dribbling around. He has kept Otterbein in this game. McKenzie. He's dribbling hard, and what's the char? It's going to be a blocking foul. No, it's going to be a traveling violation against Otterbein. Mo Kincaid had originally called it a blocking foul, but then Frank Vitt comes to the other side and says that's a traveling violation.
I agree with Kincaid's assessment of that being a block, even though Abel, he's just way more undersized than McKenzie, so it looked worse than it was, but his feet were moving completely. But they saw the travel before it.
Hannah to Abel. Abel bounces it into Jamison near the left block. Back out to Abel. Dan dribbling to his left. Now it's over to Tyrell. 9 on the shot clock. Shrek to Jackson. Jackson over to Shrek. To Dan for 3. Abel not able to knock it down, but Jamison with an offensive board. Capital will now reset. Abel saying, calm down, everybody. Let's just try to work the offense a little bit. Abel, top of the arc, now over to Jackson on the right wing. 18 on the shot clock. Jackson over to Shrek. Shrek near the corner on the right side. Back out to Abel. 12 on the shot clock. Now to Tyrell. Tyrell thought about a 3. Might have gotten bumped that time, but no foul. 5 on the shot clock. Tyrell losing it. Out of bounds. But it was off of Otterbein. Capital now working with 4 seconds on the shot clock. So now it will be Abel inbounding there from the near side. Gets it into Hannah. Hannah, turnaround Jay. That's no good. Jamison with another offensive board. And a foul is going to be called against Otterbein's Nick Nossman, excuse me. Only the 3rd foul on Otterbein, however.
And we continue to see the 2-3 zone susceptible to offensive rebounds, as it is. And Otterbein, not a very good rebounding team. Plus Capital, a very good rebounding team. It's not a good recipe right now.
Jamison drives on in and scores after having to leap high to corral the inbounds pass. Nice athletic play by Jamison right there. 31-26. Capital leading Otterbein. So now the Cardinals looking for a response offensively. Arminio driving on in, and a foul called, looks like against Tyrell Jackson. So now Otterbein will be shooting free throws the rest of the way here in the first half.
Luckily, there's just 2:43 to go. It looked like it could have been worse. They had 4 fouls in the first 7 minutes, but the pace has kind of slowed down on those.
Cameron Arminio, Fairfield, Ohio native, knocks down his first free throw. Front end of 1-1, so he'll have a second free throw upcoming here. Went to Mason High School in the Fairfield, Ohio area. I've actually been to Mason High School. Very good football facilities. Arminio with the second free throw, and it's good.
And Otterbein shooting basically 80% on the year from the free throw line. They're a very good free throw shooting team.
Capital 31, Otterbein 28. 2:38 left to play in the first half. Tyrell Jackson over to Dan Abel, who's had to run most of the point guard duties today for Capital. Shrek back to Abel. Abel in the right corner. Now it's over to Shrek. 10 on the shot clock for Austin. Now they go inside. Tyrell from the right elbow, and it's good for Tyrell.
At this point, they kind of have to abandon the zone. Capital is starting to solve it. They're making all these mid-range jump shots, and the problem is if they switch out of the zone, they don't really match up very well man-to-man for Capital either, and that's when Shrek can really start getting in his matchup against Valerity, for just an example of a mismatch there.
Swung out, Valeri for three, and he knocks it down.
That's why Valeri's on the court. He's a very good shooter, and he's quick. He might not have the size of a very good basketball player. Just 5'5" is what he's listed at, but you can find your way to make some money here at this level, at the NBA being that size. Earl Boykins kind of sticks out.
From Eastern Michigan. I remember Mr. Boykins when he played for the Nuggets.
Yep.
And by the way, Otterbein 4 or 5 from three-point range. Speaking of threes, Dan Abel for three. That's no good, but another offensive rebound. Nice tip by Schreck as he gets it back out to Tyrell. Minute 22 remaining in the first half. Jackson, long jumper, and Tyrell has got that jumper going this afternoon.
That area of the floor, if we had a shot chart, would be bright red right now for Capital. They are making everything from about 12 to 15 feet outside the basket.
Jackson with 8 points. Joy Weingartner also with 8 points for Capital. 35-31. Capital with the lead. A minute remaining in the first half. Valeri goes out to McKenzie. Now it's swung inside. A lot of shot faking, a lot of spinning, scooping, not scoring is Otterbein's Matt Hughes, and Capital with a rebound. Abel streaking ahead to Schreck. Now it's over to Will Hanna for three. Hanna knocks it down from the corner.
He is really starting to come on since the injury to Geisy, and that is a big added addition to this lineup.
33 seconds and counting in the first half. Capital with a 38-31 lead over Otterbein. Valeri on the right wing. Now they pass it over to Nossman. They go inside, back outside to Valeri for three, and Valeri knocks it down.
5 of 6.
38-34. Capital with the lead. They will hold the ball for the last shot of the first half. 9 seconds and counting. Jackson, he's dribbling around. He gets it on over to Hanna. Hanna driving on in, inside to Schreck. Schreck twisting, turning, turnover. Otterbein with the ball, and the shot will not count. Wasn't going to go in for Nossman anyway. At the end of the first half, Capital 38, Otterbein 34. Coming up, we'll have the Rusty Bucket halftime show. Get you updated with scores around the OAC as well as Division I men's basketball, and we'll take a look at the stats from what turned out to be a very productive first half, particularly offensively for Capital. Again, Capital leading Otterbein 38-34 here on your home for Crusaders men's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
OSU Sports Medicine is a proud supporter of Crusader student athletes by providing sports health services for Capital University athletics and
Welcome back to the Capitol Center. Welcome into the Rusty Bucket Halftime Show. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Danis. Capitol leading Otterbein 38-34 at the half. Speaking of scores, let's get you updated with some games around the OAC. Part of our OAC scoreboard update brought to you by Jersey Mike's Subs and Sandwiches. Well, on the men's side, a lot of the action is going to be starting in about a half hour or so with a bunch of games set to tip off at 2 o'clock. John Carroll will be playing host to Marietta. Ohio Northern on the road. They'll be heading to Alliance, Ohio to take on Mount Union. And Wilmington will be on the road as well. They are at Heidelberg. All those games will tip off at 2 o'clock. Muskingum playing host to Baldwin Wallace at 4 o'clock. We do have a lot of top 25 action at the Division I ranks. 4:23 remain in the second half. 20th ranked Arizona taking care of business against Missouri 75-51. 18th ranked Purdue leading Cleveland State 67-46 with 3:50 left to go in the second quarter. Good game taking place between Notre Dame and top-ranked Villanova. The defending national champs are in a dogfight with the Fighting Irish. They lead Notre Dame 57-56 with 7:51 remaining in the second half. And then a couple more games coming up here at 2 o'clock involving top 25 teams from the Division I ranks. 11th ranked Louisville playing host to Texas Southern. 17th ranked Wisconsin will be on the road taking on Marquette. And 15th ranked West Virginia playing host to VMI. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the halftime stats of this game. Again, it is Capitol leading Otterbein 38-34 here on your home for Crusaders men's basketball, the Capitol Sports Network.
Order eat.
This is the perfect time-saving companion.
How perfect, Ed?
Presenting the Jimmy John's F4000 three-dimensional sandwich printer.
Oh, boy.
See, we put one of these babies in the home of every Jimmy John's customer.
Uh-huh.
They order the sandwich online.
Uh-huh.
And we send a signal to the F4000 to make their sandwich.
Ed, how much does one of these babies cost?
With the quantity discount, $50,000, sir.
And how long does it take to print a sandwich?
About 8 hours, sir.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
So back to the drawing board?
No, stay away from the drawing board, Ed.
OSU Sports Medicine is a proud supporter of Crusader student-athletes by providing sports health services for Capital University athletics and student health services. Through the work and care of team physicians and athletic trainers, it's the team behind your team. For all fans, if you're looking to improve your physical performance, recover from an injury, or stay active for a lifetime, the experts at Ohio State Sports Medicine are there for you. Visit sportsmedicine.osu.edu or call 366-4332.
Welcome back to the Rusty Bucket Halftime Show. Capitol leading Otterbein 38-34 at the break. Let's now take a look at the halftime stats. These are brought to you by Clank's Cafe. Let's first take a look at Capitol. Crusaders led offensively by Joey Weingartner and Tyrell Jackson, each with 8 points. Weingartner, a particularly impressive first half, 3 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from three-point range to allow him to score those 8 points. 4 points and 3 rebounds for Tyler Jamison, 6 points for Caleb Mitchell, 5 points for Will Hanna, 2 points for G. Yahaya, and 5 points for Dan Abel, as he continues to come off the bench more and more for Capitol. Crusaders shot 58.6% as a team from the field, 4 of 9 from three-point range, good for 44.4%, and they have yet to shoot a free throw in this game. So there you have it right there. Otterbein, meanwhile, led offensively by Andrew Valeri, the freshman point guard out of Mentor, having a good game so far. 3 of 4 from the field. All 3 of his makes have been from three-point range, where he's been a perfect 3 of 3. 3 points for Matt Hughes, 6 points for Cameron Arminio, 2 points for Nick Coons, 4 points for Brian McKenzie, 2 points for Corey Howard, 6 points for Nick Nossman, who has knocked down a couple of jumpers from three-point range in this game, and Austin Springer has 2 points for the Cardinals. The Cardinals shot 13 of 19 from the field, good for 68.4%. They are 5 of 6 from three-point range, a scorching 83.3% from downtown, and 3 of 4 from the foul line, good for 75%. Jimmy, one thing that really stood out to me in that first half was Capitol being able to create second and third chances for them. 8 offensive rebounds for the Crusaders.
Yeah, they have 12 total rebounds, 8 offensive, like you said, Charlie, and Otterbein has 6 total rebounds. 2 of them are team rebounds, which happen as a result of the ball going out of bounds or something after a shot. So they physically have grabbed, as a team, 4 rebounds. No one on their team has more than 1. Kind of shows you the domination on the boards that Capital has had. That 2-3 zone, they've been really susceptible to that offensive rebound. Jamison has had quite a few himself. He has 3. Yahaya also has 3 offensive rebounds individually. So those are a couple standouts for Cap. But overall, as a team, 12 rebounds to 6. A couple other points that I have circled here. Both teams shooting at least 58%. That is not going to happen for the rest of this game. One of these teams, if not both, is going to come back down to earth, and that could kind of decide this game a little bit. And the three-point shots we talked about in the pregame, Otterbein shoots 25% and allows 27%. And law of averages, after a while, it's going to come back up, and that's what's happened. 5 of 6 themselves shooting, but Capital is also shooting 44% from 3, which is obviously a poor defensive standpoint from Otterbein as well. So both these teams are going to cool off here in the second half. We talked about the keys being the rebounds. Capital obviously crushing that. The three-point perimeter has kind of been a wash right now, I'd say. And the pace of play is in Capital's favor. I said 75 is kind of a target number for us. We're on pace for 76, so we're right there. Otterbein's going to have to keep shooting 68% to stay in the game if that's what's going to happen, and obviously I don't think that's a very likely scenario. So we'll see. I think defending the perimeter and slowing down Otterbein going to be a little bit more important than keeping ourselves going. Just kind of turn this more into a grind fest again, and that's the kind of style that we like to play.
Real quick, Jimmy, your halftime hero and also some keys to look forward to in the second half.
A halftime hero, I mean, it's really hard to pick someone that kind of stood out there. I kind of want to just give it to the team as a rebounding standpoint. There's no one that's really individually stepping out. I guess Jackson with his 8 points, but you look on the bench, Mitchell's got 6, Henna 5, Albo 5, Yahaya's got 2 and 4 rebounds. So really this is a very good team effort to this point, and I want to give it a special shout to the rebounding department. So I guess Jamison and Yahaya would be the two that we kind of spotlight there as the rebounds, because that's really been the difference in this game, Charlie. And again, we kind of just touched on the keys there, but it's going to come down to which team kind of cools off more than the other team and who can keep the scoring going for their own respective clubs.
We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll have the second half here at the Capital Center. Capital leading Otterbein 38-34 here on your home for Crusaders men's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
Dill's Greenhouse is a local family business dedicated to offering the best shopping experience and honest prices for your gardening needs. If you're in need of annuals, perennials, vegetable plants, or any variety of gardening tools and resources, Dill's Greenhouse is more than happy to get you on the right path. Dill's Greenhouse is located at 5800 Rager Road in Groveport, Ohio, and is open 7 days a week. Visit them online for more information at dillsgreenhouse.net. Dill's Greenhouse. Only nature does it better.
We're about to begin the second half of our first game today. A doubleheader here at the Capital Center. 2 longtime rivals from the Ohio Athletic Conference, Otterbein and Capital, battling one another on the hard court. Men's game still going on. Women's game tentatively scheduled for a tip-off time of 3 o'clock. Jimmy, normally there's a 20-minute break in between games, so we'll have an abbreviated version, I guess you could say, of the Peking Dynasty postgame show for this game and the Jimmy John's pregame show for our women's game.
Yeah, it'll kind of be a on-the-fly situation. We'll see how long the interview with Coach runs, and then we'll see if we can track down Dixie before the game. If not, we'll definitely make sure we get to talk to her after the Otterbein game on her side.
Meanwhile, McKenzie drives in, and boy, the foul struggles continue for Nate Boone. Had 2 in the first half, and now he quickly picks up his third, and a little over 10 seconds into the second half.
Yeah, that's super frustrating. He played 4 minutes in the first half, and now he's already got 3 fouls, and I think Coach is just going to leave him out there at this point. You got to play him at some point.
McKenzie, senior out of Westlake, Ohio, knocks down his first free throw. Second free throw upcoming for McKenzie, and it is good. So just like that, the lead for Capital's been cut to 2, 38-36. Just 15 seconds into the second half. Schreck across midcourt. Hands the ball to Joey Weingartner. To Tyrell Jackson, back to Joey on the right wing. Joey now back to Tyrell. Now it's back to Joey. Now it's back to Tyrell. There's been a lot of passing here on the three-point arc. Loose ball. Valeri picks it up for Otterbein. And now Otterbein will go into its half-court set. Valeri had a good first half. 9 points, a perfect 3 of 3 from three-point land. They will bounce out inside to Matt Hughes. Hughes will try to go baseline. Reverse layup is good.
Tough finish.
And he had Jamison on his back as well.
Yeah, he sure did. He spun it right over the corner of the box there and just somehow got the English on it right.
We're tied at 38. 18:53 remaining. And another turnover for Capital. Here comes Otterbein. Coons on the right wing. Over to Valeri. Valeri being guarded by Shrek. And there is quite the height differential between those two players. Valeri 5'5", Shrek 6'3". Arminio dribbling around, turnaround Jay, no good, and the rebound is taken by Jamison after the tip by Jackson. Shrek driving on in, jumper will roll on in for Shrek. A lot of contact between Shrek and Hughes, but no call, and Capital reclaims the lead, 40-38, 18-15 remaining in the second half.
And Shrek really needs to get going for them. He didn't do much in the first half and not necessarily struggled at all, just wasn't really involved in the offense.
Arminio bouncing it over to McKenzie. McKenzie will now hand off to Coons. Coons back out to McKenzie for three, and McKenzie knocks it down from the right wing. Otterbein up by one, 41-40.
So much for them cooling off at the start of the half, too. They've come out firing.
This does not look like a team shooting 25% for three-point range. I can tell you that right now. Shrek over to Jackson on the right wing. Tyrell over to Joey. Inside to Shrek. Back out to Tyrell. Tyrell, 15-footer, no good. Tipped out, and Shrek comes away with the ball for Capital. He'll drive on in, and he got tripped up on his way to the bucket. And it looks like Shrek is okay for right now. You know, sometimes you have to hold your breath whenever you step on a player's foot, you trip over a player's foot, but it looks like Shrek will be okay. G. Yahaya, by the way, will check back in for Capital. And they're still trying to figure out, yep, it's going to be Nate Boone coming back to the bench.
Frustrating day for Nate as well with the 3 fouls. Hasn't got a shot attempt up yet or any kind of statistic to this point. He's played about 6 minutes.
Jackson, another long jumper. That's no good. But G grabs the rebound. G inside, got fouled. He'll now head to the free throw line. Those offensive boards, Jimmy, I have a feeling are going to pay some big dividends for Capital here down the stretch.
That's his 4th himself from Yahaya.
He's been a force on the boards, has G. Yahaya. Kentucky, well, I take that back. He's from Kentucky, played his prep ball in the state of Kentucky, but technically he hails from Africa. So G will now go to the free throw line. Nigeria, to be more specific.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun to watch him on the soccer field next year as well, if that all goes to plan.
First free throw is good for G. You have to play that guy at the forward spot,
right?
right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Assuming everything goes good and Coach Goodwin and Coach Yost able to work it out and allow him to play for both of them, that'd be really cool to see.
Second free throw, no good. Shrek tipping it out, but unfortunately there was nobody in the purple and white to collect it. Goes out of bounds, and it'll be Otterbein ball. 17-16 remain in the second half. And we're tied at 41 between Otterbein and Capital. This has been a nip-and-tuck game throughout today. Largest lead for Capital has been 7. Largest lead for Otterbein has been 4. Near steal for Shrek. And let's see here. Foul will go against Otterbein. It looks like it'll go against Valeri.
Saw Daniel Oki down there, by the way, before pregame, making a trip back for the doubleheader today.
Daniel Oki was a good player. I liked him during his time at Capital. Shrek dribbling the ball around. Now it's to Jackson. Jackson thought about a three-pointer. So goes inside to Joey. Joey, twisting, turning, jumper, no good. Rebound taken by Otterbein's Coons. Now it's to Valeri. And Otterbein is really slowing down the tempo of this pace, Jimmy. It kind of reminds me of Northwestern a couple years ago when they would play Ohio State, how they would try to take it down to the final seconds of every possession, it seemed like. Jumper on the way, and that is good for Matt Hughes. So the guy has range, and he can also make some twisting, turning plays near the rim as well. Otterbein up by 2, 43-41. 16:25 remain in the second half. Jackson to Weingartner. Over to Jackson. Jackson for 3, and Tyrell Jackson knocks it down for Capital.
He's the first player to enter double figures for either side now.
11 points for Tyrell. 44-43, Capital with the 1-point lead. A foul called against Capital. Looks like it'll go against Shrek, as got a little too close to Valeri that time. Coming in for Capital will now be Dan Auble. Weingartner will come to the bench.
looks like they're making like a really concerted effort to get Abel on the floor as much as possible.
Coons will get it in for the near side. Couldn't agree with you more. And the way that he's been playing, both offensively and defensively, Capital just seems to be a better unit when Abel is out there on the floor. McKenzie nearly losing it for Otterbein off of his foot, but able to regain possession. Now it's swung all the way around to Arminio. And now it's to Valeri, and another foul is going to be called against Capital. Kind of the same problem with Capital once we started this game, Jimmy, getting into foul trouble a little bit.
Yeah, they were able to kind of limit the damage in the first half, and they didn't get into the bonus until 3 minutes. But again, Otterbein's a very good free throw shooting team. They need to make sure they don't get in the bonus here within like the next 10 minutes or so. They need to spread out these next couple fouls.
Valeri goes inside to Hughes. Hughes will try to back Jamison down on the left block. Hughes kind of feeling it and not able to get the shot to go. Jamison, good defense and a good rebound by Jamison as well. We'll get it over to Dan Abel. Abel, the freshman, gets it over to Jackson. Back to Abel. Now back to Jackson on the left wing. Back over to Abel, this time on the right wing as they go inside to Jamison. And the ball is poked away. Valeri will feed it ahead. And the layup is good for Nick Coons.
That was a smart play by Coons. Instead of trying to go for that ball himself, he tapped it back to one of his teammates and then just jetted it down the floor. Valeri was able to recover it and get it back to him right away.
Otterbein 45, Capital 44. 15:03 remaining. And Abel's jumper, no good. Jamison tips it out, and it's still a loose ball. And it is Tyrell Jackson who gets it for Capital. Schreck driving in, and was he fouled? Yes, he was. Schreck will head to the free throw line. Austin Schreck, the best part about his game, Jimmy, is that if he sees even a little sliver of an opening on the inside, he's not afraid to drive towards the hoop.
Yeah, absolutely.
First free throw, no good for Schreck.
He did a lot of damage at the free throw line in that game against Muskingum.
Got to the foul line 5 or 6 times, right?
Yeah, I remember, especially down the stretch when they were really starting to pull away.
Michael Howard checks in for Otterbein. Schreck, meanwhile, second free throw, good. Tied at 45. 14:53 remaining in the second half. Valeri to Howard. Howard back to Valeri as he crosses midcourt. Jumper off the glass and in for Nick Coons.
They are just red hot, still shooting over 68%.
And Nick Coons with 6 points. I was talking with Elijah Gonzalez, the play-by-play voice for Otterbein. He was telling me that Coons is normally just your lockdown defender player. Not today. He's got 6 points. Ball out of bounds, and it will stay with Otterbein. Speaking of Otterbein, they'll make a substitution. Nick Nossman had a couple three-pointers in the first half for the Cardinals. He'll check in, as will Corey Howard. Otterbein leading Capital 47-45. 14:25 left to play in regulation. Schreck will inbound it from the far side. Still looking for an option. Gets it into Jamison finally. Schreck. Over to Tyrell Jackson. Jackson to Schreck. Schreck. G. Yahaya for 3. That's no good. And the rebound taken by Otterbein's Michael Howard. Corey Howard now handling the point guard duties for Otterbein, being guarded by Abel. They'll finally get it across midcourt. And now Abel will be called for a blocking foul. 4th foul on Capital, also 4 fouls on Otterbein so far here in the second half. Otterbein holding a 2-point lead over Capital, 47-45. Capital put Weingartner back in. Schreck will check in, as will Caleb Mitchell. He'll check in for Tyler Jamison. Otterbein will inbound it from the far side. Nick Nossman will be the inbounder for the Cardinals. Nossman will get it into Matt Hughes, who's been feeling it as of late for the Cardinals offensively. They skip it on inside, and bad play right there for Caleb Mitchell, but a great pass inside. He fouled Michael Howard, made the bucket, count the bucket, and a foul.
Mitchell,
but great ball movement by Otterbein.
Yeah, it was a great find from Hughes. Mitchell, a very good offensive player. He brings a lot to the table, and the only thing that's keeping him off the floor from big-time minutes would be his defense right there, and again, using too much of the body on the foul.
Free throw, no good.
Didn't hurt him, at least.
Otterbein 49, Capital 45. 5 fouls, by the way, already for Capital here in the second half. Bears watching going forward. Dan Abel to Jackson, back to Abel. Now he skips it over to Joey. Now it's on the inside to Caleb Mitchell. Three-pointer for Joey. No good. Rebound. It's going to go to Otterbein. And a foul also called against Capital. Are they going to get G for over the back?
Yeah, I don't think that one was over the back. He was reaching over the top of Howard, but didn't really make a lot of contact with Howard. And the official that made the call was behind Yahaya. Couldn't really see, how much contact there actually was there. But nonetheless, one more foul, and Otterbein shooting free throws.
Michael Howard, back to Corey Howard. By the way, no relation. Corey Howard, near midcourt, being guarded by Abel. 15 on the shot clock. Howard will swing it over to Coons. They go inside to Hughes. Hughes backing his man down. A lot of twisting and turning. Back out to Corey Howard. Howard will hoist a three and knock it down. Boy, the Cardinals are flying high offensively. They're shooting 70% from the field, Jimmy.
They're shooting over 85% from three-point range, too. They're 7 for 8, so 87%. And that was a good stop defensively there. Mitchell turned away Hughes in the paint, and they just had to throw up a three at the buzzer, at the shot clock buzzer, and it went down.
We'll keep things right here at the Capitol Center. 12:59 remaining in the second half. It's Otterbein leading Capital 52-45. We got a bunch of games in the OAC starting up action as of right now. John Carroll playing host to Marietta this afternoon. Ohio Northern on the road at Mount Union. And finally, Wilmington. They'll be on the road taking on Heidelberg today. While we have a moment, a couple of scores for you right here. Looks like Villanova is going to be holding on against Notre Dame. Number one team in the land in Division I ball. They are leading Notre Dame 73-66. 20 seconds remain in the second half. Number 18, Purdue, taking out Cleveland State 77-53. And 20th ranked Arizona beating Missouri 79-60 in that ball game. Again, our women's game tentatively scheduled for a 3 o'clock tip-off. So we got that to look forward to later on this afternoon. Same two teams, Otterbein and Capital. Women's team trying to break out of a recent funk that they've been in. They've lost their last couple of games. And Otterbein, meanwhile, Jimmy, they've been kind of slow out of the gates as well.
Yep, and I'm looking really forward to that one. And while we have a quick second, we should mention the D3 football semifinals are going on. John Carroll with Oshkosh right now, UW Oshkosh. They're tied at 0 in the second quarter. And after that one, it's going to be Mount Union and Mary Hardin Baylor. So there's a scenario in which John Carroll and Mount Union would play each other for the national title, which is kind of cool for the OAC.
Wouldn't that be something? Abel on the right wing, over to Schreck. Schreck back to Abel, 15 on the shot clock. Capital has got to get something offensively going. They've kind of cooled off from the field in recent possessions. Schreck to Hannah, now back to Abel. 5 on the shot clock. Abel gets it over to Weingartner. Lets loose a three. That's no good, and the rebound is taken by Michael Howard.
Well, we said one team would cool down, if not both, and at this point, it's only been the one that's cooled off. That's Capital. Otterbein has gotten even hotter, actually.
Nossman gets it back to McKenzie. McKenzie at the top of the arc, being guarded by Hannah. They try to go inside, but it's poked away by Weingartner. Here comes Schreck now, down the floor. It's blocked, but he gets his own miss. Wild layup, no good. Rebound taken by Brian McKenzie. Capital just having a hard time scoring as of right now.
Yeah, they had numbers there. You got to get 2 points.
McKenzie over to Nossman. McKenzie on the right wing. Otterbein leading Capital 52-45. 11:50 left to play in the second half. Floater in the lane is good for McKenzie. Largest lead of the game for Otterbein. They are up by 9, 54-45 with 11:40 left to play in regulation. Schreck goes inside, and oh boy, miscommunication right there. Mitchell was open on the right block, but Mitchell thought that Schreck was going to shoot a three-pointer instead of passing the ball to him. And now coming in for Capital, Jaden O'Neal.
Wildermuth in there as well. And now we've got a couple more.
Coach Goodwin pulling out all the stops here as Brennan Chukran will check in for Giahaya as well. He's just looking for a spark, something offensively right now. Otterbein with a 54-45 lead, 11:35 left to play in the second half. Cardinals back with the ball. Nossman bringing the ball up against Wildermuth. And Wildermuth trying to keep him in front of him. 19 on the shot clock. Coons Over to Howard. Howard being guarded by Jane O'Neal. O'Neal still guarding Howard, dribbling the ball to his right. McKenzie on the left wing. He's got 7 on the shot clock. Double dribble called against McKenzie now. And now Jamison will check back in for Capital, taking the place of Kayla Mitchell on the floor. Capital down by 9, 54-45. Otterbein has outscored Capital 20-7 in the second half. O'Neal, top of the arc, over to Chukram. Chukram back to O'Neal. It's poked away. A steal for McKenzie. And McKenzie will drive on in, off the glass and in. Count the bucket and a foul. Boy, when it rains, it pours.
McKenzie hasn't missed tonight either, or this afternoon. I keep saying tonight, sorry. I'm used to these games being at night.
Yeah.
5 for 5 from the field, though. 13 points for Brian McKenzie.
So McKenzie will now head to the free throw line. And, boy, as if things weren't tough enough for Capital, that is now the 7th foul for the Crusaders. So as Capital tries to dig themselves out of this big hole, Otterbein will be shooting free throws the rest of the way. McKenzie knocks down the free throw.
Capital's last basket came at the 16:21 mark of this half. They led at the time 44-43. Now they find themselves down 57-45.
So a near 6-minute drought offensively for Capital has allowed Otterbein to grab a 57-45 lead. Three-pointer on the way for Chukran. That's no good. And now, let's see here, a foul. Is it going to go against Capital? Yes, it will.
It's on Hannah on the rebound there. And that leads to the 1-and-1 opportunity on the other end.
8th foul on Capital. Boy.
Not the guy to foul either with McKenzie going to the line.
No, McKenzie, senior out at Westlake, Ohio. Boy, it's amazing how this lead for Otterbein has escalated so quickly. And as the free throw is missed by McKenzie.
Well, that's a break.
And Capital is going to need plenty of them down the stretch here. 10.5 to play in regulation. Otterbein 57, Capital 45. 12-point lead for the Cardinals. Three-pointer now. And it's knocked down by Brennan Chukran, the junior out of Rayland, Ohio.
He was in the same spot that he missed from on the previous possession, so he got a little bit of a practice shot off and made it that time on the adjustment.
9-point lead for Otterbein. 57-48. And another foul called against Capital. Looks like O'Neal got a little too frisky with Corey Howard. So Howard will now head to the free throw line.
Howard 1 for 2 from the free throw line this season, so obviously not a whole lot that we can draw from that.
And Howard, one of those guys that stayed home to play his college ball. He's a junior out of Gahanna. Went to Lincoln High School in that area. Gahanna not too far from Otterbein, which is out of Westerville. Free throw missed by Howard. Otterbein 57, Capital 48. Jamison. Now a jumper, and that is over the backboard and out of bounds as Gavin Wildermuth tried for 2 points there for Capital. McKenzie will get it into Arminio. Howard, meanwhile, will slowly bring it across half court. He'll pass it on over to Nossman. Nossman back to Howard. Howard on the left wing. 13 on the shot clock. And again, Otterbein is just ticking down those seconds. Now Howard hoists a 3, and that's no good. Rebound taken by Will Hanna. Jayden O'Neal, meanwhile, dribbling around. Over to Chukram. Now back to O'Neal. O'Neal on the left wing, over to Wildermuth. It's to Wildermuth, back outside to O'Neal. O'Neal driving in and missing. Jamison put back.
Ooh.
Not there, but he did get fouled, so now we'll head to the free throw line for 2.
Programming note, we just received word here from Ryan that we are going to have a pregame interview with President Dr. Paul, so that'll be cool. No Dixie in the pregame show in between games, but if you stay with us, we have an interview with Dr. Beth Paul here at Capital, so that's a cool little treat for you guys.
In her first year as president of Capital, I might add. First free throw is good, so that will be coming up after our game.
And then, of course, we'll catch up with Dixie after the game as well.
A couple of high-ranking women here at Capital that we'll be talking to. Very important women here at CU. Jamison, meanwhile, back at the free throw line. Capital trying to chip away at this lead for Otterbein, and they're doing so. They're now down by 7, 57-50. 9:05 remaining in the second half. So now let's see what Capital can do here defensively. Valeri. Now it's over to Nossman, who nearly lost out of bounds. Valeri back to Nossman. Nossman skipping it on over to McKenzie. McKenzie with 10 on the shot clock. They go inside to Hughes. Fadeaway jumper, no good, and the rebound taken by Gavin Wildermuth. Wildermuth quickly across midcourt. Settles himself on the right wing. Passing it over to Brennan Chukram. Chukram will go inside. Pass inside to Jamison. Swinging around. Three-pointer for Chukran. Knocked down. Great ball movement by Capital.
Here come the Crusaders. And you said it. There was like 5 extra passes there that entire possession. They finally get the best shot they can.
That looked Golden State-esque. I'll tell you that right now. Let's take a timeout. 8:18 remaining in the second half. Otterbein 57, Capital 53. This is your home for Crusaders men's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
This is a message for all those MBA seekers out there. For the junior exec who'd rather be senior. For the VP yearning to be CEO. And for everyone who'd call their job not just a profession, but a passion. Capital University's MBA program was built exclusively for professionals, experienced faculty, flexible schedules, and classmates you'll soon consider colleagues. Learn more at capital.edu/MBA. The Capital University MBA, for those driven to do more.
With 14 TVs to watch your favorite team or the next big event, Planks Cafe and Pizzeria in German Village is ready for you and your group today. Plenty of free parking, free Wi-Fi, banquet rooms for private parties, and daily specials. What more reason do you need to visit Planks Cafe and Pizzeria? Planks is located at 743 Parsons Avenue and has been serving the Columbus community since 1939. Planks is on the web at plankscafe.com or available by phone at 614-443-6251. Planks Cafe and Pizzeria is a proud supporter of Crusader Athletics.
8:18 remaining in the second half. Otterbein leading Capital 57-53 here at the Capital Center. This is men's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network. Charlie Davis and Jimmy Bloomfield bringing the action from a very chilly Bexley, Ohio, and at least for this weekend, not a lot of snow, but I hear that narrative will change next weekend, partner.
Don't remind me.
Three-pointer on the way for Otterbein. That is no good for Nossman. Oh, come on, you're from the Chicagoland area. You should be used to this type of weather.
I'm kind of over it already.
Jamison near the left block. Jamison, Hannah, jumper, no good for Will. And the rebound taken by Otterbein's Aminio. Otterbein with a 57-53 lead over Capital. 7:40 remaining in the second half. Arminio now inside to Hughes. Hughes double teamed. Kick back out to McKenzie. And McKenzie got bumped by Will Hanna. So now a fresh shot clock for Otterbein. 7.5 remaining in the second half. Otterbein 57, Capital 53. And now McKenzie will head to the free throw line.
And look at the lineup on the floor right now for Capital. You wouldn't expect O'Neal, Chukran, Hanna, Wildermuth, and Jamison to be the 5 out there in a tight game here in the second half. But this has been the unit that's brought them back, and Coach Goodwin's sticking with them.
Meanwhile, McKenzie quietly having a good ball game. 15 points. Make it 16 points with the made free throw.
And think about it. There's no Shrek. There's no Weingartner. No Jackson out there right now.
7:25 remaining in the second half. O'Neal. Well, I think, Jimmy, at this point, Coach Goodwin's just trying to find that right combination of players.
Exactly.
Wildermuth to Hanna. Inside to Chukran. And Chukran got hit on the wrist by Nossman.
And now Otterbein 1 foul away from the bonus.
And that will help Capital's cause going forward. 59-53. Cardinals with the lead over the Crusaders. 7:13 remaining in the second half. Still plenty of basketball left to be played here at the Capital Center. O'Neal, top of the arc. Over to Hanna. Now to Wildermuth. Corner 3 for Gavin. That's no good, but Jamison with another offensive board. Floater. That's no good. The rebound taken this time by Arminio for Otterbein.
2 big misses. A wide open 3 and then the putback on the follow-up. One of those has to go.
Valeri lets loose a three-pointer. One of his rare misses is Jamison skies for the rebound, and a foul on Otterbein, this time against Matt Hughes.
He's going to the line now.
So Jamison, the freshman out of Chillicothe, Ohio, went to St. Trace High School. 6'6", 220-pounder. Boy, just think, putting some more muscle on, getting trained the Division III way. The sky's the limit for this guy.
There's been some very good post players that have come through Capital here the last few years, so they know what to do with them. 7 for 11 at the free throw line, too, so, again, not a whole lot that we can draw from that sample.
Jamison, right-handed shooter. First free throw is good.
Looks like he's got a pretty good stroke, though, for a big man.
And remember, he's only a freshman. You know, we tend to have the same conversation with guys like G. Yahaya as well, Jamie. The future is bright athletically for Capital.
And Mitchell only a sophomore, too, his backup. So the two of them still have, you know, the rest of this year and then 2 more years together. Could be really special.
Second free throw is good for Jamison. Nice young core for Capital to build around.
And they seem to have a pretty good friendship. When Mitchell came off the court, he actually said something to Jamison in his ear there a little bit. So I think that those two kind of feed off of each other.
Valeri passing it over to Nossman, excuse me. Now it's back in the hands of Valeri with 13 on the shot clock. Valeri twisting, turning on the left wing. Now it is swung around. McKenzie for 3. That's no good. Hughes had the rebound. Now it's poked away, but Jane O'Neill comes away with it for Capital.
And Capital kind of forcing the issue now defensively. They're playing passing lanes. That one was tipped out of bounds.
By Nossman.
They're doing a very good job of upping the intensity defensively, getting the tempo up a little bit too. And look, it's Auble first off the bench, not Schreck, not Jackson, not Weingartner.
Interesting. The trust between Auble and Coach Goodwin is growing and growing and growing.
And it's not like Jackson's struggling. He's 5 for 8 with 11 points, leading scorer right now. I don't know how much longer you can keep him out.
6:07 remaining in regulation. Otterbein with a 59-55 lead over Capital. And Hanna nearly losing it, diving towards the floor. Now it's a turnover as he was trying to get it back into play. Arminio picking it up for Otterbein. Valeri now on the left wing. Being guarded by Chukram. 3-pointer on the way. That is an air ball for Coons. Loose ball out of bounds. It'll go to Otterbein. 14 on the shot clock for the Cardinals.
Here comes Jackson back in.
Jackson coming back in for Gavin Wildermuth.
And it kind of makes sense that Chukran and Hanna out there, probably players in practice that have been working hardest defensively, and that's what's been fueling this run is the defense.
And McKenzie is going to be called for an offensive foul. Try to do like a little hook around the defender.
You don't usually see that called. Chukran again in the right spot defensively. He's knocked down a couple of big shots, and he's really earned his playing time out there.
And meanwhile, another foul for Otterbein. They now have 8, 2 away from the double bonus for the Cardinals. Both teams are going to be shooting free throws down this stretch. Interesting, very interesting.
And Schreck back in now, too.
Auble bringing the ball up the court for Capital, meanwhile. Gets it over to Schreck. Schreck drilling in, back out to Auble. Jackson, pump fake, thought about a 3. Now back out to Auble with 18 on the shot clock. Jackson to Auble. Now over to Chukran on the right wing. Brennan Chukran over to Tyrell Jackson. Goes inside to Schreck. 3-pointer on the way for Tyrell. Bullseye for Tyrell. 1-point lead for Otterbein.
Like I said, you can only keep that on the bench for so long.
14 points for Tyrell Jackson. 59-58, Otterbein with the slim lead. 5:08 remain in the second half. Coons being face guarded by Jackson. Gets it over to Hughes. Hughes nearly losing it, but somehow gets it over to Valeri on the right wing. 10 on the shot clock. Valeri skips it on over. Arminio for 3. That's no good. Rebound taken by Dan Auble. Here come the Crusaders. Schreck down the lane. Kick back out to Jackson for 3. Tyrell knocks it down, and Capital regains the lead.
Otterbein hasn't scored since the 11:01 mark of this half. Haven't made a field goal, I should say. They've added 3 free throws. And over that time, Capital has erased any 12-point deficit to take the lead.
What's that old saying about basketball games? It's a game of runs, and Capital is on a good run right now. 4:38 remaining in the second half. Capital leading Otterbein 61-59 here on your home for Crusaders men's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
Jimmy John's world's greatest gourmet sandwiches. Ed speaking.
Yes, I need a sandwich delivery right away.
What kind of sandwich?
I don't care. Just get it to 215 Elm Street right now.
I'm on my way. Jimmy John's.
Thanks for getting here so fast.
You're welcome, sir. Here's your sandwich. By the way, did you know your house is on fire?
That's why I called Jimmy John's.
Fire makes you hungry?
No, I knew you'd get here fast. Grab a bucket.
We're gonna need more than 2 guys, sir.
You're right. What'll we do?
Leave it to me, sir. Hello, boss. Send everyone you got to 215 Elm. Doesn't matter what kind of sandwich, sir. I'll explain later. Thank you, sir.
Jimmy John's. Come in. Sir, did you know your house is on fire? Yes, I did. Grab a bucket.
Jimmy John's.
Come in.
Sir, did you know your house is on fire?
Yes, I did. Grab a bucket.
Jimmy John's.
Come in.
Sir, did you know?
Yes, I did. Grab a bucket.
Jimmy John's.
Come in.
Sir, did you?
Yes, I did. Grab a bucket. Fire department. Come in. Sir, did you know you... It's okay, Captain. We got it handled. Care for a sandwich? Thanks, but tell me something. Shoot. Why didn't you call the fire department first? I did.
4:38 remaining in the second half. Capital has regained the lead over Otterbein, 61-59. Otterbein had as big a lead as 12, Jimmy, but now all of a sudden the Cardinals have cooled off. The Crusaders, meanwhile, have heated up.
Yeah, Otterbein was touching near 70% from the field. They're down to 59.5 now. And like we said, they haven't made a field goal in the better part of 6 minutes now.
Valeri to Coons. Coons has his pass tipped, and Jackson picks it off. Nice defense by Tyler Jamison, forcing the deflection. Abel to Chukran, to Shrek, now to Jamison. Jamison being double teamed, gets it out to Abel. Abel twisting, turning, fadeaway jumper's good for Dan Abel. 63-59, Capital with the lead. Valeri, freshman point guard. Gotten off to a nice start. He had 9 points in the first half. Since then, nothing. Valeri. Now it's swung all the way around to Arminio. Back to Valeri on the top of the arc. McKenzie now looking to do some work. Dribbles in. Floater is good for McKenzie.
That ends an 18-2 scoring run for our Capital to get this lead.
More importantly, it draws Otterbein to within 2 of Capital, 63-61. 3:38 left to play in regulation. Abel to Chukran on the left wing. Chukran swings it over to Abel. Abel, top of the arc. Abel dribbling around to his right. Now to Jackson. Tyrell with 9 on the shot clock. Over to Abel. Abel dribbling on in. Feeds it inside. Schreck. Reverse layup is good for Austin Schreck.
What a find from Dan Abel. And he has made huge strides. I said it. Our first look at him just had a lot more confidence on the court, and it's really showing through now in his play.
Second assist of the day for Abel, and he also has 7 points, matching his career high that he set against Muskingum the other night. Capital 65, Otterbein 61.
Oh,
Hughes
wow.
will dribble in, and are they going to call a foul on that?
I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought Hughes took a million steps that time going down the lane.
It was quite a few steps. I agree, Charlie.
So Hughes will now go to the free throw line. Hughes, a junior out of Columbus, went to Bishop Watterson High School. Right-handed shooter's first free throw, no good.
Ball don't lie, Charlie.
So now Hughes getting set for his second free throw. Coming in will be Nossman. Nossman, another player who's gone cold in this second half. He had 6 in the first half. Hasn't scored any since then. Hughes, second free throw. That's no good, and the rebound is taken by Capital in the form of Brennan Chukram.
Keeps this game at 2 possessions, too. He just needed to split a pair to make it a 3-point game.
2:48 remaining in the second half. Capital 65, Otterbein 61. Abel looking to lead the Crusaders to a win over the Cardinals, looking to close it out against Otterbein. Thought about a 3, bouncing it in. Jamison off the feet from Schreck. Again, great ball movement by the Crusaders. 67-61 Capital.
I don't know what happened in the last 9 minutes, but all of a sudden Capital is playing some of the best basketball that we've seen them play with the ball movement and the defense on this end.
Kind of reminds me of what they did in the second half against Muskingum the other night, Jimmy. Nossman inside to Hughes. Hughes, a lot of pump faking and going towards the bucket, and they're going to call a foul against Jamison. Oh, boy. So now Hughes will go to the free throw line once again. I agree with Damon Goodwin. He's putting his hands up.
I don't have as big of a problem with that one, but I would wish that they would call the foul earlier. You see that happen with officials sometimes. It's almost like they're waiting to see if it's going to go in or not, and then that decides whether it's a foul.
First free throw missed by Hughes, by the way.
Yeah, if it's a foul, it's a foul. Call it either way. It shouldn't depend on whether or not the basket goes in.
Hughes, second free throw on the way. That's good. Capital 67, Otterbein 62. Approaching the 2-minute warning. here in regulation. Abel running the point for Capital. To Jackson, back to Abel. 16 on the shot clock. Jamison to Abel. Abel floater is good for Dan Abel. A new career high for the freshman. Dan Abel with 9.
3-possession lead now for the Crusaders.
69-62. Capital with the lead over Otterbein. Nossman over to McKenzie. McKenzie drilling around. Back out to Valeri. Valeri back outside. Three-pointer is no good for Nossman. And the rebound taken by Jackson. Under a minute and a half. Minute 24 to be more specific. Capital with a 69-62 lead. Looking to close out Otterbein right here after coming back from a 12-point deficit. And now Abel is going to be called for a foul. And, oh, boy.
Come on, there's no way that there was that much contact.
Valeri doing a great acting job. You got to give him credit for that at least. He'll be getting his envelope from the Golden Globes next week, that's for sure. And now, timeout taken on the floor. We will step aside one more time. Minute 13 remaining in the second half. Capital 69, Otterbein 62. This is your home for Crusaders men's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
OSU Sports Medicine is a proud supporter of Crusader student-athletes by providing sports health services for Capital University athletics and student health services. Through the work and care of team physicians and athletic trainers, it's the team behind your team. For all fans, if you're looking to improve your physical performance, recover from an injury, or stay active for a lifetime, the experts at Ohio State Sports Medicine are there for you. Visit sportsmedicine.osu.edu or call 366-4332. Just as fresh as its pizza, Donato's is fresh off of its 50th anniversary and still serving the Columbus area with pride. Now introducing online ordering, Donato's Pizza is ready for your order at any time from anywhere. Donato's also features a gluten-free menu and will even cater your next big event. Donato's Pizza in Bexley is located at 2800 East Main Street and is available by phone at 614-235-4477. Donato's Pizza, proud supporter of Capital Crusader Athletics.
69-62, Capital with the lead over Otterbein. A minute 13 remaining in regulation. Charlie Danes and Jimmy Bloomfield bringing the action today from Bexley, Ohio at the Capitol Center. This is game one of our doubleheader. The women's teams of these respected institutions will be playing on later today, tentatively scheduled for a 3 o'clock tip-off. But in the meantime, back to the men's game. Valeri bouncing it over to Hughes. Now it's in the hands of McKenzie. McKenzie dribbling in, losing his footing, almost lost it out of bounds, but gets it over to Nossman. 15 on the shot clock, under a minute remaining in regulation now. Hughes trying to back his man down, that be Schreck. And a traveling violation will be called against Matt Hughes. 51.5 seconds remain in regulation. Capital with a 69-62 lead.
Loudest cheer we heard all night, too, as Weingartner comes in for Jamison now, going offense for defense. They've got 5 free throw shooters out there now. They don't want Jamison getting fouled, I guess. Even though Jamison has done a nice job at the free throw line tonight, 4 for 4.
Abel gets it into Will Hanna. Hanna losing it out of bounds, and they're going to give it to Otterbein.
Oof.
Hanna said he was hacked, but according to the referee down there on the floor, he said that the ball went off the knee of Hanna.
Jamison back in, offense for defense. And again, I said tonight, I got to remember it's 2:30 right now.
Valeri into Hughes. Hughes, jumper off the glass and in. It's good. And now a timeout's going to be taken by Otterbein. So now the plot thickens here a little bit. 46.8 seconds remain in regulation. Capital leading Otterbein 69-64. Recap of the stats here for a moment. Capital getting a nice performance today from Tyrell Jackson. 7 of 10 from the field. 3 of 4 from three-point range, 17 points. Tyler Jamison also nearing a double-double, 10 points, 8 rebounds for the freshman center from Chillicothe. For Otterbein, it's business as usual for Brian McKenzie. He had been averaging a little over 15 points per game. He's got 18 today. And they've also got a nice performance out of Matt Hughes, who has 10 points for the Cardinals.
Luckily for the Crusaders right now in the court, Charlie, they have the possession arrow. So if there is a tie-up and they can't beat this press, they will still get to keep possession of the basketball, which is huge at this point. Otterbein's got to try to get a quick steal or, you know, a backcourt violation, something where they can't get it over the timeline in time. And if they get it across the timeline, you got to foul.
Schreck will throw it in successfully to Weingartner. Weingartner now dribbling around. He's double teamed. Over to Schreck. He'll feed it over to Abel. Abel, oh boy, he had Will Hanna open for a bounce pass that time, but instead he got fouled by Nossman.
Had to foul there. If one more tip of that ball gets into towards Hanna, like you said, Charlie, easy layup.
So Dan Abel will head to the free throw line. He is a 6-foot freshman from Brecksville, Ohio. He has already established a career high at Capital points-wise with 9 today. Can he reach double figures? First free throw is good for Abel, so now he has 10.
He's yet to miss in his career at the free throw line. 7 for 7.
Looking to make it 8 of 8 here. It is up, and it is good.
Take that, announcer's jinx.
Yeah. And how about this? 11 points for Dan Abel off the bench. He is something else for Capital. Approaching 30 seconds remaining in regulation. Jamison, nice defense as Valeri misses the layup, and now a foul called against Otterbein, and another set of free throws upcoming here for Capital. Hopefully another set of free throws. They're still in the 1-and-1 technically. And Dan Abel, once again, will head to the free throw line for Capital.
Looks like, actually, that was the 10th foul, Charlie. The scoreboard was a little bit behind, so it will be 2 shots.
First free throw good for Abel.
Doesn't matter. He makes them anyway.
12 points now for Abel.
It's looking a little bit more comfortable now with just 30 seconds left.
Misses his second free throw. So that's his first missed free throw. But then again, the percentage is working out pretty well for Abel. Shot clock has been turned out. Three-pointer, that's no good. Offensive board by McKenzie. McKenzie got fouled, count the bucket. And he'll be heading to the free throw line now. This game isn't over quite just yet, but at the same time, things are looking pretty good for Capital. They're still up by 6.
Looks like Weingartner was going to come in, but he's going to stay out, actually.
So McKenzie at the free throw line. It is up, and it is good for McKenzie. So it is now a 5-point lead for Capital. 15.9 seconds remain in regulation. 72-67 in favor of Capital. We invite you to join us for the Peking Dynasty postgame show, and also combine that with the Rusty Bucket, not the Rusty Bucket halftime show, the Jimmy John's pregame show, as we recap what took place in the men's game and get you set for the women's game, which will be taking place in about a half hour or so.
And we'll also have the interview with President Paul as well, so stay tuned. We have a lot going on in our post/pregame/transition show, if you want to call it that.
Yep. The good old in-between. Capital, the men's team that is, looking to get a win over the Cardinals here today. And, hey, hopefully the women's team can get a win over the Cardinals, a clean sweep of the big old rival here today at the Capitol Center. That's what's in the offing for Capital here this afternoon. Schreck, meanwhile, trying to get it in, and he gets it into Abel successfully, and Abel got fouled, so he'll now head to the free throw line. 15 seconds remain in regulation. Capital up 72-67.
And a couple of offense or defense subs from both teams. Weingartner and Jamison kind of playing musical chairs right now.
And Matt Hughes getting set to check in for Otterbein, although a lot more.
Yeah, there's like 9 players on the floor right now in red.
Oh, boy. I know Corey Howard and Arminio are checking in for Otterbein.
Looks like Valeri's still in there. McKenzie's still in there.
Abel will now head to the free throw line. 2 free throws upcoming here. First free throw good for Dan Abel.
Hughes would be the 5th Cardinal then out there.
Abel's second free throw. Good as well. 14 points for Dan Abel coming off of the bench. 74-67. Capital with a 7-point lead. 10 seconds remaining. Howard has no choice but to launch a 3. That's no good. Rebound taken by Will Hanna. He is fouled, stopping the clock with 5.7 seconds remaining.
Ball game.
He will head to the free throw line, and boy, after Capital trailed by as much as 12 in this game against Otterbein, the Crusaders show some grit. They come back from that deficit, and judging by the scoreboard, they'll win pretty handily, but it took some work this afternoon, Jimmy.
It sure did, Charlie. This did not look like it was going to go Capital's way at the 10:58 mark, 10:57 mark. It was 57-45 in favor of Otterbein.
As Hannah splits the free throws, making the second. Valeria, excuse me, will scoot on in, missing the layup, and that's how the game will end. Great win for Capital. They come back from a big deficit against their longtime rival Otterbein. They defeat the Cardinals this afternoon 75-67 and improve to 2-1 with an OAC play. Meanwhile, Otterbein, they're still looking for their first win with an OAC play. They dropped to 0-3 within conference play. Please join us for the Peking Dynasty postgame show coming up in mere moments. Again, Capital triumphs over Otterbein 75-67. You have been listening to men's basketball here on your home for Crusaders men's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
Army ROTC is one of the best leadership courses in the country and can be a part of your college curriculum. As a potential or current student at Capital University, learning to become a leader will make your college experience even richer and prepare you for the future. Capital Army ROTC can provide scholarships and many more benefits to those who enroll, but the biggest benefit will be experienced firsthand after joining. For more information on Capital Army ROTC, testimonials, and an in-depth look at what the program can offer you, go to www.capital.edu.
Welcome into the Peking Dynasty post-game show. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Danis. Capital defeating Otterbein 75-67 in our men's half of today's basketball doubleheader at the Capitol Center. Let's go ahead and take a look at the final stats brought to you by the CU Society of Sports Management. First, for Capital, Tyrell Jackson, 17 points on the afternoon, 7 of 10 from the field, 3 of 4 from three-point land. Tyler Jamison had 10 points and 8 rebounds. 5 points for Austin Schreck. Joey Weingartner with 8 points, scoring all of them in the first half. Brennan Chukram and Caleb Mitchell with 6 points each. 6 points as well for Will Hanna. 3 points for Ganayu Yahaya. And 14 points for Dan Auble, coming off the bench. 4 of 8 from the field, 1 of 3 from three-point range, and 5 of 6 from the foul line. Capital shot 51% from the field. 9 of 18 from three-point range, good for 50%. And 12 of 16 from the three-throw line, good for 75%. Meanwhile, Otterbein, their leading scorer was Ryan McKenzie. He had 21 points on 7 of 8 shooting from the field, 1 of 2